Welcome to the second semi-finals, the second best of 5 of the evening. We're on Newkirk Precinct, spawning to the bottom right-hand corner in purple, playing Protoss as her off-race for LDLC and France. It's Miyako. And to the bottom left, in orange, playing Zerk for MyRisk and Germany, it's Miezekotze. I like you no matter how this ends. Me too. So both of them just promising each other, there it was, that they won't hate each other, no matter who's going to win. And this is, like I said before, going to be rather interesting, since we never actually have the chance to see these two ladies play against each other, since their match throughout the season didn't actually happen. Miyako had to forfeit the match, giving Miezekotze a 3-0. Which actually I think also helped Miezekotze to get into second place. I think if she had actually lost the game versus Miyako, Suno Kazuri could have actually come out second place, because she won her match. I think actually that made a big difference there, that Miyako didn't show up to play her game. So, there's already a pylon for Miyako down here, and Miezekotze is only realizing right now that there's some sort of cannon rush shenanigan going on. She immediately pulls a lot of drones here, actually a few too many in order to take out that pylon. You don't really need that many, but of course she just wants to take out that pylon up here so that the buildings down there won't grant, this building won't give the buildings down here high ground vision, so it won't be able to, she just barely get it down, and she will. So at least the photons cannons won't have vision up towards the high ground, but the second hatchery is already done, and thus the cannons will actually easily take out that building, but it will be a little bit more easy for Miezekotze to clear this pylon up from the high ground once she finally gets queens out. But she of course has to forfeit the second base here, just already took her third base out in the open, but in the meantime Miyako has already transitioned into a Nexus. So actually doing kind of a wall style build, going into the Forge Fast Expand this time around. So this really remembers me of Wings of Liberty here. So hatchery goes down, no chance for Miezekotze to keep it from going down, but she already transitions into a quick Roachhorn here. Probably just wants to break through, while I actually think that maybe if this kind of thing happens, it might actually be better to go for a Suno-esque style build and going for the Dropper Lords, because having to start with a Forge, it will just cost you so much time to get high attack up, to get the gateway, to get the cybernetics core done, to get a mothership core out, and then even getting enough pylons into position in order to secure everything. So I think a drop overlord would actually just make a lot of sense here in order to deal a lot of damage back towards your opponent. But Miezekotze just trying to get into the usual 3-base macro heavy build we've seen out of her very often. Miezekotze not very much of a cheesy player. I mean, yes, she has some cheesy games or cheesy openings in her repertoire, but we'll see if she will actually be able to, or if she actually wants to use it throughout the series or not. I think she does not really feel that comfortable with them. But what she feels mostly comfortable about is her macro capabilities. But Miyako, being the aggressive player that she used to be, even as Terran, just sends 2 zealots across the map, trying to terrorize the second base over here once more. Not many units out for Miezekotze, but she has 3 Ravagers that should easily be able to deal with these units here, especially on creep. Yeah, Miezekotze not even caring about these drones here, just sending them towards these minerals. Miyako just tries to make the best out of the 2 zealots that can't escape anyways, and tries to tear down a few of these drones, but doesn't succeed, since Miezekotze just rallies all of them towards one of those minerals, stacking them up, making it almost impossible for the zealots to hit the same drone 2 times in a row, or 2 times in a row, sorry, 2 times in a row. And yeah, that was just it. So now 3 bases up for Miezekotze. a little bit far away from each other and no creep spread whatsoever. So a sharp timing push out of Miyako could actually just crush one of these bases fairly easily, since especially the queens would take forever to get from one base to the other, and that's probably why Miyako just decides to go into some sort of sky-based push here. Probably the same push that Koshik was actually going for, with a few Void Rays and a lot of Adepts right behind it. We have more Gateways and another Stargate incoming, so either Miyako just also wants to transition into Sky Toss later on. I know that she has been practicing this, that she really wanted to go into Sky Toss at least once in this best of 5, but in her practice it became quite problematic to get there because the Zergs would always just overrun her before that. So she probably just practiced a lot trying to find a way to keep herself safe while teching up to carriers. And then again, maybe she even just will be able to push to the third base, take it out, because there's just no anti-air whatsoever except for the queens. But with no creep spread out, with no creep connecting any of these 3 bases, it will be rather difficult for her to get the anti-air out that's necessary to defend these bases. Seems as if she... Okay, there's another Ravager, but Ravagers should actually never ever hit Void Rays if the Protoss is paying attention. Yeah, just putting everything up, and Miezekotze realizes immediately, I can't hold this third base over here. Might at least be able to maybe take out one of these Void Rays, but like I said, shouldn't be able to take it down whatsoever. And there the second base is dead once more, and Miezekotze back on 2 bases again. So Miyako just doing all the necessary parts here, just harassing her opponent over and over again, making it very, very difficult for her to get up her economy in order to get up a bigger army, and is now transitioning into the fleet beacon. So it seems as if she just wants to play it rather safely here, just getting a third base of her own in the meantime, while keeping her opponent low on drone counts, so that her only option actually is to go full all-in from now on out. I think Miezekotze should have realized that by now. Let's see what she actually wants to do, but she must have realized that she won't be able to play catch-up for any longer. I mean, of course she wants to take a third base, because she cannot really think that she will destroy her opponent with the little army that she has right now, but maybe she will be able to deal at least some damage towards her. In the meantime, we have Miyako just sneaking in her four Void Rays, and might even be able to take out the lair here after taking out the Spore Crawler. Again, there's only 1 Queen and a few Hydralisks over here. Let's see if Miyako actually wants to engage this army here. She has a 5th Void Ray coming in, the 4th one has already died, and she rather retreats than sacrificing all of her Void Rays. I think that's the best idea. But yeah, that was a really surprising attack. Could have maybe even taken out this lair here if Miezekotze hadn't already prepared with a few Hydralisks out, because the queens alone would again just not have sufficed. So let's see. Yeah, carriers now in the making. Miyako just running around the bases with the Void Rays, almost using her Void Rays as if they were Phoenixes, or as if they were Mutas here, just flying around from one base to the other, taking out whatever she can. Yeah, taking out 1 queen over here. 1 transfuse was available, but the second one was only available for the queen itself, and queen unfortunately cannot transfuse themselves. So it didn't quite work. Miyako has to retreat for now, pull out with these Void Rays here into a safe corner, and at the meantime we have some Adepts pressuring into the third, or into something that was the third at some point. Quick reaction time there by Miezekotze, pulling away all of these drones, only losing 2 so far. Unfortunately, a few drones that were still inside the extractors get killed as well. The queen gets down as well. Might even be able to take down the Spore Crawler to make it easier for Void Rays to then come in once more. And I think once the army moves towards the base and Miyako realizes that the army is over here, she will probably just send in the Void Rays once more in order to deal some more damage to the main base here. But yeah, it just looks pretty grim for Miezekotze here. I mean, the supplies look kinda okay, so that's not the time for Todd to say, look at these supplies, man. But everything else is just speaking for Miyako a whole lot. Her economy is way better than that of her opponents. Her opponent is on 3 base, while Miyako is even taking a 4th, or has already taken a 4th. and just only needs to saturate it. She's already managed to get into carrier attack and also has the mothership up, while Miezekotze just only has the Hydra Den as anti-air tech. So this just won't cut it at all. She now just, now even getting the Anion Pulse Crystals, just in case if Miezekotze went for a Spire and wanted to go into a big muted transition, she would always be able to just get into Phoenixes pretty quickly, but she doesn't even need to do that. Miezekotze is still busy getting up her economy, just crossing her fingers, hoping that her opponent will grant her enough time to come back into the game. But regular viewers just know that Miyako is not the type of player that likes to sit back and give her opponent second chances. She just usually has a good sense for when to attack and when not to attack. And this time around, I feel once she just hits enough carriers and maybe even maxed, she will move out and probably easily crush her opponent, who will only have a few Hydralisks at that point in time. And Hydralisk just won't cut it against that mass amount of carriers, together with a mothership and everything else. Can also just warp in a few adepts that will also help killing these Hydralisks on the ground. So finally the Overseer goes through, sees the Stargates, we'll even see one more Stargate going down, maybe even the fourth while dying. At the same time, Miezekotze just checking for the fourth base, will find it, but there are already two cannons in place, maybe just barely out of range if the Lynx just run quite behind the mineral lines and then just coming in from back here. But yeah, that's probably not what they're going to do. Oh, even getting in some Banelings here, so those might be able to deal some damage, but at that point in time it actually just doesn't matter anymore, I feel. I mean, even if Miyako lost all of these probes, which is pretty unlikely, she would still be okay and still be up, like, well, maybe then the worker count would be even. But yeah, she just pulls away most of them. The cannons just kill most of the Banelings, not actually losing any probe here. So nicely done. A few links just make it inside the natural base, but the carrier is already there. Again, just losing a few probes over here, but it doesn't really matter as much. And now Miyako even taking a fifth base. Finally! One player that actually takes time to clear these rocks and take this base, because sometimes I was really wondering why people do not take this one as a fourth base and rather take this one, because if you have like your army over here anyways, it's way easier to protect this entrance and thus your natural third and fourth at the same time. So taking this as a fourth base seems so much more logical to me in so many cases. So it's quite interesting. I think a lot of people just take this base over here as their fourth base because they either want to be further away from their opponent, or they are just forgot about these rocks here, and when they realize, oh, I need to take a fourth, it's too late to take them down. So let's see. Now she finally engages, like I said, being maxed, having 8 carriers. No, 7. It's only 7 carriers, never mind, but that should... only 7 carriers, yeah, and now let's see. I mean, what is there that Miezekotze can actually do? She has Infestors, that's something. She has some Banelings maybe ready for the ground units to take them out, but yeah, the carriers already attacking all of these Hydras, wiping them out before the Hydras can even start shooting at the Mothership Core. Fungals were good, but the rest just didn't work out. Like I said, a few parasitic bombs, like 6 to 7 parasitic bombs, they stack. So they actually deal a lot of damage to units that are clumped up immediately. Oh, and that's actually a nice move here, just using the Infestor spell in order to get these carriers done, the Neural Parasite here, to at least capture a few carriers, making Miyako just retreating for a little bit here. Woo! Even warping out completely. And I think Miyako just doesn't want to risk anything here, loses one more carrier to the Hydralisks over here, but she already has taken another Nexus down here and another Nexus up here, so no problem whatsoever, has already taken every single base on her half of the map, while Miezekotze is only now taking another fourth after losing the fourth down here. But still, I mean, Miyako is so far ahead with all the upgrades as well, is producing more and more carriers. It's almost a it's now a complete Skytoss army except for the occasional adept down here. And yeah, a second attack is already incoming. I mean, maybe Miezekotze will be able to just Neural Parasite a lot of these carriers once more. Maybe even neural parasiting the mothership core here. The mothership, not the core anymore. So let's see how this engagement is going. Corruptor is really worthless against everything that Miyako has. But yeah, there's the big engagement. So now this time around, even the infestors get taken down. We have an observer inside GG, and Miyako takes the first map. Paladino Terminal is the second map of this best of 5. Spawning to the top left-hand corner in purple, we have Miyako. And to the bottom right in orange, it's Miezekotze. Being down 0-1. So let's see what she's up to this time. She deliberately chose Paladino, which is an interesting choice, I think. Maybe she just wants to swarm her opponent with a lot of units early on, because it's a little bit more difficult for Protoss to wall off everything here, because we actually have 2 small entrances into the natural base, and that can be a little bit problematic for a Protoss to defend early on. And then of course we have some points which we already saw in the game between Koshki and Suno, where you can also drop in using dropper lords. So let's see what Miezekotze wants to do and what Miyako can do against it. So Miezekotze just running around searching for proxies here, wants to make sure that her opponent is not indeed cannon rushing her. But Miyako, doing no such thing, just goes for a nexus at her natural base. Never do the same cheese twice. Actually, I have to say, in all the time I have been casting Miyako's games, ever since the good old ESL Female Cup days back in Wings of Liberty, or maybe at the start of HOTS, I don't really know if I actually even casted one game of Miyako back in Walla. I think it might have just started in Heart of the Swarm. But never mind. Since back then, I think I've never seen Miyako play the same strategy twice in a row in a best of 5. I think I've never seen that happen. Miyako just always likes to mix it up. Not only to keep the opponent guessing, but also to keep the audience entertained. So let's see. Just gets a good scout, gets a good feeling of what her opponent is up to. Nothing all too surprising here, but of course she still wants to know what's going on here. Nice move here, trying to move through the fog in order to escape from the Lings here. Maybe get them off her track, but unfortunately it didn't work out the way she wanted it to do, but that was a nice idea. So Miezekotze already moved in a little bit with her Overlord here. Probably tried not to give it away. Oh no, never mind. She actually flew in, saw a lot, and then just flies out once more before the mothership core gets out. So, first few links already on the way. Wants to get some information here. The main is closed, so no way for her to get any information out there, but might even be able to actually get 1 or 2 probe kills. Well, probably not. Okay, now the Adept moved. That's the sign for Miezekotze to move in. That's actually all she wanted here. Nice little move there by Miezekotze, just luring her opponent off and away from that ramp, and now she just has the possibility to sneak in and get the scout, seeing the Twilight Council here, seeing... yeah, I mean, she could have already guessed that this was a fully saturated base, so nothing more to see than the Twilight Council, but that already grants her at least some information, although the second part of the build just comes into place with the robotics facility over here. Yeah, okay, looks as if this is a complete wall-off now, or maybe there's a little gap in here. Seems as if there's the little gap, and there's the Adept just moving through it. Yeah, Miyako just checking if the Adept could actually go through, and sent it into the gap right now, so put it on hold position so it will be able to close the wall, but leave units out if need be. So yeah, the second part missing for Miezekotze to know about everything was the robotics facility. She didn't know about that because it hadn't been planted down at that point in time. So, let's see, will she go for Dropper Lords or not? She has a lot of Lings out here and a few more in production. She also has the Rotorn almost finished. Does she have an Evo chamber? No, she doesn't. So no Dropper Lords, I have to say. Miezekotze moves in once more. to gather some more information. We'll probably see the two gateways here, and the Twilight Council researching something. Yeah, researching something. She won't see that little icon over here. She will only see the Twilight Council researching, but that might tip her off a little bit. If she flies out far enough to also see the robotics facility, she will probably know what's up and that some sort of warp prism push is headed her way. Might even expect some immortals to come out, but it's the good old sentry play. So it seems as if Miyako just actually wants to drop inside the main base, seal it off with a force field here, and then just start warping in units. And she might actually be able to do it. Ooh, I don't know, probably not. Yeah, still Miezekotze has too many units upwards that ramp that grant her vision, so she will always be able to pick them up before the units actually can come out and close everything off with the force field. So she just retreats for now, realizing that her sneaky little push didn't work out quite the way she wanted it to work out. But there's the Dark Shrine in the making, and we also have the first Immortal. So it seems as if Miyako is pulling a full Koshki here. Well, maybe not a full Koshki, it's like a Koshki with some additional sentries. And but then she will have the Adepts with Glaives upgrades, she will have a lot of gateways available. She will also have a few Immortals out and will probably then just walk across the map trying to crush her opponent, who's mostly on Roaches actually. So it's Roaches and Ravagers, and the only thing that's really good against this composition is the Immortals. But this time around we also have a lot of sentries with a lot of energy in the mix, and with good force fields, this battle could actually kind of work out for Miyako. But it's looking a little bit promising for Miezekotze here, I dare say. Having a third base up a little bit earlier, not really saturating it, because she's still afraid of what push might come towards her. So she rather wanted to have a few more units out before finally saturating that third base. So, second Immortal is done, so now it's time for the move out. We have more ducts following as well. Yeah, Miyako wants to make sure that these are clumped up to a ball, so that they just don't give too many surface area for Link surrounds or even for the Roaches to surround. So, right now, Miezekotze is pretty oblivious of the push that is coming, hasn't had any units in the pathway of this army, and now everything is moving in, even some DTs in the mix, but we have an Overseer in place as well. Yeah, force fields, yeah, quite nicely placed here, and of course the Corrosive Bile can destroy them, but then they won't be available for the rest of the army here. So let's see if this actually works out. After realizing that there's an Overseer here, Miyako just instantly morphs these Dark Templars into Archons so that they will be able to dish out some more damage. Miyako's main goal, of course, taking out the hatchery over here, but thus far she hasn't been able to deal that much damage. More force fields going down, separating small chunks of the army of Miezekotze from the rest of the army. Miezekotze producing like crazy, but mostly Lings and Banelings only. Seems as if Miyako finally manages to take out the main target, which was the third hatchery, and that of course is already, or might already be, the end of the beginning. For now, Miyako actually retreats, hasn't planted down a third base of her own, so she's not really that far ahead at that point in time. Had she taken a third right behind it, and would now be able to just defend it from a possible counter push, I think she would be in a great position here. But for now, she's still on two bases, and it seems as if she just wants to end the game in a few seconds after all. Might just want to wait for Blink to finish and then just move in. Okay, trying to apply some more pressure over to the right-hand side. But yeah, she's still on two bases, she's still all in, she needs to finish this game on two bases. Miezekotze has already tried to get her third base up once more, is now engaging with all of her forces. Lings are closing in, making it a little bit more difficult for the army to dish out the damage towards the Roaches and Ravagers, and now suddenly Miyako's army has significantly shrunk to a really not that scary amount anymore. I mean, never underestimate the power of Protoss and the power of force fields together with some Blink Stalkers. Blink not finished yet, but it will in just a few seconds. But Miezekotze just doing good work here, keeping her opponent away from the third base and just Yeah, keeping the army low. She still has some links in position over here. She still has the Overlord in position over here. So she knows that her opponent has not taken a third base yet. Miyako just now trying to do it. The creep is still there, so she still has to wait a few seconds. But of course, Miezekotze now knows that Miyako intends to take a third base down here. So I think as soon as she's managed to get a nice army together, she will just take the southern route in order to get towards the third base, taking it out before it can even be established. And at the same time also going for a counter push, for a run-by push with the help of the Zerglings here. Let's see if Miyako actually reacts early enough. She just... Whoa! Okay, me. Wow, Photon Overcharge really dealing some damage towards these units. But the main goal, of course, was to just lure this army back in order to get into the third base. Miyako hadn't even placed the army down. But yeah, that's, of course, a choke point where Miyako never wants to fight against all of these Ravagers here. And now suddenly Miezekotze has brought the fight to Miyako's doorstep. And let's see, I mean, some force fields are still left, but this is a lot of Banelings, Tasteless. And they're all crushing right into the army. Miyako blinking away as best as she can. But a lot of army units have already died before the rest of the Ravagers finally engage. Even getting some Stalkers here with the Biles because they were just too clumped up. Not really getting away from the choke point anytime soon. So, but again, Miezekotze just managed to deal the damage she wanted to deal anyways. Just kept her opponent from taking a third base. Is now soft-containing her. Will probably never allow Miyako to take a third base whatsoever. I mean, Miyako might be able to sneak out a probe with a Warp Prism, maybe take a hidden expansion over here, or even over here, but I think that's the only chance for her to getting a third base ever. Or maybe for... and then, I mean, the other chance... Oh, now even losing the Immortals because of a miss rally here, or the AI just doing a few stupid moves there while retreating, and that might have been the nail to the coffin here. I mean, the only remaining units for Miyako now are Stalkers, and Blink Stalkers are nice if you can blink them correctly, but Miezekotze's army is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. She now even makes more Zerglings, so that it will be more difficult for her to fight, or for Miyako to fight against these army units. Okay, Miyako now trying to take a third base over here, but it will probably just be taken down immediately. At the meantime, Miezekotze just pressuring a little more into the natural base, tries to take out an important tech building, but it just doesn't work. Now more army units are just moving in. Miyako again just has to escape as good as possible, blinks away for now, but the rest of the units pressuring into the choke point. Still, Miezekotze has to be careful. I mean, if her opponent actually just manages to get her into a good choke point, and yeah, now actually just whooping in a few more Dark Templars because she's just realized that Miezekotze does not have any detection with her army. And Miezekotze has to be careful. I mean, these DTs will do tons of damage. It seems as if Miezekotze has not realized yet that there are DTs around, and a lot of Ravagers are just dying towards the DT harassment there. There's an Overlord here, but Overlords do not provide any vision. And I don't know what Miezekotze is doing. She just stays there with the army. It seems as if she was comfortable, or was thinking that she could just nevertheless take down all of these Stalker forces, and suddenly the fight has just turned upside down. What the hell? DT's just saving the game there for Miyako. I mean, what looked like a pretty tough position just a few seconds ago turned into a massacre only a few seconds later here. My god, DT's just shredding through the whole army of Miezekotze there. Wow, that was very unfortunate for all you Miezekotze fans, because now it looks as if Miezekotze just doesn't have enough lava left and enough resources in order to outproduce her opponent. She just moves in with everything she has because she knows she just can't lose this third base over here, or it will be done anyways. Yeah, but there's no way she will be able to break through this. I mean, Archons even morphing, the Stalkers will just blink away, drones will die in vast amounts, and now the Archons will just annihilate a lot of these units before finally dying. I mean, Miezekotze might eventually be able to push away this forest, but look at the supplies, man. It's 979 to 31. And Miyako now on 3 bases as well, managed to get her DTs into the main base, even taking out the evolution chamber maybe? Well, yeah, there's no vision here as well. So DT's also working on that base down here, but there's a Spore Crawler at least close by, so she will be able to take down this base. But yeah, I mean, I mean, what can I say? I think Miezekotze is as surprised as we are that she actually gave away that game. Trying to deal some damage over here with one scouting link, but it gets tracked down and killed. And now the lair even falls. Ladies and gentlemen, I think that is it. Expect GG any minute. I think Miezekotze just needs some time to get rid of her own frustration with herself, because that game was definitely hers to lose, and unfortunately she threw it away. There's not much more we can say here. I mean, Miyako has a mining third base. Miezekotze seems to not even have a lot of workers left. There's only 7 drones working at that point in time. 7 to 54. I don't really know what Miezekotze is waiting for. Like I said, I think she just wants to use the rest of the time to calm down. And so that she just won't go into the next game with a lot of anger inside her. But she can't really think. I mean, does she know about the third base? Yeah, she knows about the third base, of course. She sent a Zergling in there. So, yeah, Miyako just comfortably takes a 4th. There's nothing that Miezekotze can do against that. Infestors being produced, but yeah, one fungal just won't do the trick. I mean, it might help. It will help a little bit, but just won't do the trick. Yeah, Lynx and Roaches cannot engage this army at all. Lynx, not at all, unless you have like a vast amount of them. But there's just not enough lava or minerals left, and now the third base falls again. That's actually like the only interesting base for Miezekotze anyways. This base is almost dry, and now the drones over here will also get killed by the Ts. The main base is dead. Actually, these buildings will soon start dying as well. Not those over here. GG! And Miyako takes the second game as well. Honor Grounds is our third map of this second best of 5 in the semifinals of the FSL Season 2 playoffs. Spawning to the bottom right, in purple, we have our Protoss player Miyako. And to the bottom left, in orange, we have our Zerg player Miezekotze. So let's see what our little kitty barf can do to come back into this best of 5. She needs to do the reverse sweep. She needs to win 3 in a row. It's going to be a pretty tough task, but we've seen it happening before. Let's see if we're going to see it again. Hatch first for her. Early scout for Miyako. And by early scout, I don't mean early sent out, but finding the opponent's base pretty early. So lucky scout, maybe we could say, for Miyako here. Just getting the scout first. And now, of course, Miezekotze should already know where her opponent is. We'll probably just send this Overlord to a different direction in just a few seconds, I feel. Well, actually this drone could have also, or this probe could have actually also come from up here. So maybe she just wants to make sure, but we'll soon realize where that probe came from. Cybernetics core on the way, just sealing off the main entrance, and we'll then probably take a backdoor expansion, but it's the safer opening. Once they have the cybernetics core out a little bit earlier before taking the base, doesn't want to take any chances. For early pushes, she won't be able to hold off without, for example, a mothership core. Or maybe without Warp Gate, because it just came in a little bit later here. For Zerglings in production doesn't mean that much. It's just typical for Miezekotze to build 4 to 6 Zerglings just to scout the map a little bit and maybe put a little bit of pressure onto the opponent if a chance offers itself. But yeah, nothing all too spectacular so far. Nexus in the making. Miezekotze has now realized where her opponent is. Will probably send the Overlords back to somewhere here, where the ground units cannot touch it, and then we'll probably fly in a little bit later to get a good scout. Nice little cave down there, looking actually pretty nice. Sometimes it's really worth to take your time and appreciate the design of the maps a little bit more. In the meantime, we have a third base down for Miezekotze. Undergrounds, of course, is just a great macro map, especially for Zerg, since Zerg is the supposed macro race. We have a Stargate incoming as well. Because you have the back pocket expansion, you have a very close by third base, you can defend all of these 3 bases easily on the ground by just positioning your army over here. And then you even have a Zalnaga watchtower very close by that grants you vision to an easily taken 4th and 5th. And just a lot of these walk paths leading into your bases. So, I mean, if you really want to play a long stretched out macro game, this is the map for you, definitely. But of course, players just can abuse the fact, can mind game you, making you think that you want to play a macro game on this map, but then you just start cheesing them after realizing where they are. But yeah, this map is huge. It takes quite some time to scout your opponent. It's a 4-spawn map, so you don't really know where your opponent is going to spawn right from the get-go. So cheesing also can be a little bit more difficult, or your cheese can just hit a little bit later than usual, because first you have to make sure to know where your opponent actually is, or you just have to gamble and then your units to some point crossing fingers, hoping that they will be there, because by that time you will probably only have checked 1 position. Or maybe you just want to be lucky, hope that you will scout your opponent with the first initial overlord. So, Baneling Nest incoming as well as the lair. Roaches incoming as well, so not really sure what Miezekotze really wants to go through. I think this Baneling Nest is just in case, it's just something she made in case. So we have an Oracle out, but there's a Spawn Crawler and a Queen as well, so the Oracle gets driven away with only 1 kill, not too much damage here. The Overlord actually scouts the Stargate and the Twilight Council, researching something again. We have another Oracle in the making, so it seems as if Miyako might just want to go into mass Oracle Adept play and then just again kill her opponent early on with ground forces and something shooting from the sky, just taking use of the fact that Zerg has some problems with anti-air early on in the game. But there's a Hydralisk Den already in the making, after Miezekotze has realized that the Stargate is still producing and producing and producing more units. Miyako also trying to take a 3rd base, while Miezekotze just sends out Ling in order to scout some more. The Oracles are walking or flying across the map, get into the vision range of the Lings, so now Miezekotze knows what's up. Yeah, I mean, still has to be careful. There are some units that can easily be picked off by this Oracle. Not so much queens that are helped out by other queens as well. But yeah, she gets at least a good scout here. Loses 1 Oracle though, a bit sloppy here. But she gets a good scout of everything, sees the Hydralisk Den researching something, sees the Evolution Chamber, sees the Roach Warren, has gotten a little glimpse of the army units standing around inside Miezekotze's natural base, has actually not checked for a potential 4th or 5th base. Well, I think she actually would have flown by a 5th base the way she came in. Well, maybe not. Maybe it would have just barely missed it if it was just building. So, yeah, interestingly enough, not checking for those, but is now going into Robotics Bay. After seeing the Hydralisk, and she just wants to go into Colossus, or maybe into Disruptors as well. So we can see, we will see whether she just wants to go into the more reliable damage dealers, the Colossi, or if she just wants to have some quick, but a little bit more risky damage dealers with the Disruptors. So, army units moving in. I mean, Oracles are still kinda okayish against Hydras as long as there is not a huge amount of them. She actually has the anti-light army force here, if we want to call it like that. Adepts just magnificent against light units, and the Oracles also deal extra damage. So if you just come close enough before the Hydras can really start dishing out their damage and just kill them early on, or they might just attack the Adepts first before starting to shoot the Oracle. The Oracles also can deal a tremendous amount of damage against those. For now, we only have a little harassment there by Miyako, killing off 5, 6, 7 drones, actually 9 even, Dwarf getting 10, 11. That was definitely wasn't an even escaping with all of the units and the War Prism. Miyako! What the hell is going on? That's just crazy. taking out 11 drones and escaping even. So right now we can see the same amount of workers for both ladies here, but both on 3 bases. Miezekotze has at least taken a 4th already, just needs to saturate it for now and is already producing a few drones. But again, Miyako with the relentless aggression and the relentless harassment, just making it difficult for Miezekotze to get up to her desired composition. And I mean, yeah, the extended thermal lance will be almost done, or is almost done. Will probably be done at that point in time when Miezekotze decides to engage. I mean, even an engagement can be difficult with the stasis ward out, so also nice zoning movements here by Miyako. And yeah, the only thing she now needs to do is just waiting for a few more colossi. Actually, the nice colossi, I think those are the... Are these the colossi that came with the collector's edition, or are those the other colossi that everyone got throughout one of these through one of these offers? I don't know. I can't really tell. I don't really use the alternative skins that much, so I can't really tell you. You might write it in the chat if you know. But yeah, also getting Templar Archive, so again, just getting the anti-Hydra army. And I think once Miezekotze moves out, she will just realizes that her army is already getting hard counted by what Miyako does. I don't really know if she actually has an idea what's up. I mean, she saw the one over here. She saw the robotics bay and the robotics facility. That is still producing a lot of Hydralisks. Does she even have a Spire? No. I think either Colossi or Vipers just would be great, just getting into... But she doesn't even have an infestation pit, right? No, she also doesn't have that. Ugh, I think this is again going to be very critical. I mean, she has the supply lead, she has more army units, but the army units of her opponent are just way better tech-wise. I mean, there's not so much here, so if again, like Sunokazuri, she just manages to come close enough to focus fire down these Colossi, she can be okay, but it's probably going to be very difficult here. I mean, these Colossi, as long as the Hydras cannot get close up to these Colossi, she will never be able to take them down and will just lose wave after wave after wave of Hydralisks. Which she just cannot afford. There's the Spire now going down, halfway done. I don't know if Miyako will grant her opponent that much time. Just clears the rocks here, probably just wants to take a base over here and then just fortify this position in order to make it easier for her to engage into her opponent's army. I like this move by Miezekotze a lot, just opening up another attack path here, maybe to either attack from 2 different angles or just surrounding her opponent from the back. Just doing some sort of backstab attack. So like I said, I mean, supplies are not always what help you to read the amount of game, but that might actually be a good engagement here. All of the army units just moving in, the Banelings crushing through everything. Most of the Hydras actually still alive, the Colossi are all dead, and now it's only the Hydra force against the... sorry for that. Against the Gateway only force of Miyako, and Gateway units against Mars Hydras, not that good. Miezekotze just reproducing as many units as she can, mostly Hydras, a few links just to keep all of the other units away from her. Yeah, and I think that might be very problematic for Miyako to hold now. I mean, she has one fortified position over here. If she brings a Mothership Core with her... sorry for that. She also has the stasis wards in place, can always retreat into them. Has to make sure that the Colossi do not stand... Actually, it's only one Colossus, but there's a second one in production as well, and a third one as well. Has to make sure that the Colossus is not too close in front of the army here. But one Colossus alone will also not deal the amount of damage that she's probably going to need. More and more Banelings just rolling in, sending all of the Banelings in front. Will probably just now run into it, even if some of these Banelings get caught by the stasis wards, which they probably will. So there they are, but only some of them, and then the rest of the army will probably just easily follow down. Miyako just doing her best, luring her opponent right into her own defenses, firing up all of these photon overcharges, but the damage output of these Hydras is just way too high. I mean, Miezekotze does not even have to engage all of the Colossi right now. She can just easily take out all of the mining bases whenever she wants. Now, finally, the banelings get freed, so she will also be able to still use them. Has to be careful not to lose all of her army to all of these Colossi and letting Miyako turn around this game again. But yeah, I think the best choice for her would just be to take out everything with the amazing DPS of the Hydras there, just keeping her opponent low on economy while she just will be able to remax in an instant there. Now finally getting close to one of the Colossi, just taking it down. And maybe even be able to get another one with the links here. Yeah, dealing a lot of damage there. Miyako just stutter stepping back. Good old Terran micro used with Colossi here, although Colossi of course not as mobile as Marines. So taking down the 5th base as well. Might even now go down to the 4th here, and will probably even be able to take that down as well. And then Miyako is down to 2 bases that are actually not even mining anymore. I mean, there's just a few more minerals left at the 2nd base. There's no way for... Come on, Miezekotze. Yeah, okay, now she realizes she hasn't taken it down. That would have been... well, not quite catastrophic, but that would have been quite interesting. So yeah, it seems for you Miezekotze fans, we can already say that Miyako will not be able to get back from that here. I mean, she doesn't even have a Dark Shrine this time around. And we have 3 observers in place as 3 overseers as well. So no chance. Now the swarm is moving into the main base. Miyako just trying to maneuver around as best as she can, trying to keep her Colossi alive. But then again, what does it matter, even if she manages to finally get this? GG! And Miezekotze shortens the distance 1-2. Cactus Valley is our 4th map of this best of 5. Spawning to the bottom left in purple we have Miyako. And to the top left in orange. No cross spawn for her today. On 4 player maps. On 4 spawn position maps. It's Miezekotze. Miyako, Miezekotze, these guys are really making it difficult for me. At least they didn't pick pink and purple. That would have been a mess. Just like Midas and Miyako did, which was also horrible to cast. With all the me guys. Miyako, Miezekotze, Midas touch. You guys really want to force me to make slips of the tongue. I hate you. No, I don't. I really love you guys. It's just awesome that we all are together here, watching these awesome ladies play in these thrilling games. And I don't know if you're thrilled, but I'm thrilled as hell. I really want to see if Miezekotze can come back, or if Miyako can close it out this time around. It's really difficult to decide whom to cheer for. I mean, just for diversity, I think most people would like Miezekotze to advance, so we won't see a PvP in the finals, but rather a PvZ. But then again, Miyako is just a fantastic player, and some people might want to see her take the championship again, even with her off race, proving another point here. That would be pretty interesting as well, so can't really deny that. Would just be awesome to see that. Okay, I think there's actually... Are there gaps? I think there's a gap... No, maybe not. Okay, this oddly looks like there was some gap, but maybe there is not. According to the circles around the buildings, there is no gap here, but it looks a bit odd. So, this time around, actually, Miyako already pressuring pretty hard with the first few adapts here. So already wants to put some pressure on to Miezekotze. He already has 6 links out this time around. And the Queen as well. Metabolic boost is already in the making, quite common for that point in time. And the Mothership Core is out now as well. Let's see if she just is going to keep it at home, or if she also wants to send it across the map to help her apply some more pressure. But she probably just wants to send it down. The Overlord is still hanging over here, has not seen the base being built, but of course has already seen the wall off. So there are the 2 adepts now, and with not that much vision in the shaded form, it's quite difficult sometimes to see what is going to await you inside the main base. So already 4 drones have died here, 5 drones already, and maybe even some more, but it seems as if Miyako just is satisfied with the result and just pulls out for more adepts to come in. I mean, 5 worker kills without losing any adepts is already a very good prey you got there. So let's see if she can, or very good loot maybe if you want to say, if she can get more damage done. So for now, the 4 adepts are out here, dealing some damage to the Zerglings. And now we're inside the base again, losing more and more drones. Miezekotze is here. So four more kills, so we're up to 9 drones that early in the game. 10 now, wow! And maybe even dealing some more damage down here. Again, just moving out once more. No more reinforcements incoming this time around, but I mean, killing off 11 workers that early in the game is already a very devastating blow for the Zerg player here. I mean, the one good thing for Miezekotze is that she already has her 3rd base down, and of course that Miyako retreats for now, so that she will finally have some time to drone up once more. But yeah, that was a really big blow there for the Zerg player. In the meantime, Miyako just manages, or tries to saturate her own natural base. Seems as if she really wants to go for another 2-base timing push this time around, after harassing the crap out of her poor opponent here. I mean, that's what actually worked out quite well on the first map. So I think Miyako just wants to go with a strategy that worked best, which is using early pressure into a timing attack. So adepts moving towards the 3rd base will be able to just get 2 more drones. So 13 workers killed, and now we'll even probably get 1 poor lonely roach out here. So Ronri, and another lonely roach. And it seems as if Miezekotze now really wants to wall off her own entrance a little bit more. Actually doesn't have the means in order to defend this base down here, but of course Adept's not very good at dealing that much damage to the base, especially if they are focusing the eggs and not the base at all. Well, actually was just focusing the the lava down here in order to keep her opponent from producing out of it. But yeah, I mean, the Adepts would have not been able to take out this base. It takes quite some time to take out buildings with Adepts, especially as big ones as a hatchery. Oracle in production, so more harassment going on. Miyako going from drone harassment into maybe some more drone harassment, and then finally into a push that will annihilate her opponent, I guess. Just devastate her. Okay, Miezekotze at the same time trying to connect her bases with creep, more roach. Okay, I mean, this is actually this is a very small force. We have a lot of adepts here, and Miyako can actually just shade in and try to take out as many units, or maybe even as many drones again as she can. Is already shading out, but of course the rest of the units has to stay here just in case Miyako decides to not shade out, to just cancel the shade. But yeah, again, more drone kills over the left-hand side, and Miyako just still dealing more and more damage, making her opponent to produce units rather than drones. And that just will spiral out, will just keep snowballing the longer this goes. I mean, Miezekotze is still doing an awesome job here, being at 84 supply, a little bit up in supply towards her opponent. And here we see Miyako's 3rd base finally going down. So no 2-base timing this time around. Seems as if she just wants to go into carrier eventually once more. Because for good and viable carrier build, she needs a 3rd base. Carriers just cost a hell of a lot of resources, and you just can't really afford them on 2 bases, at least not a very big amount. There are some sneaky timing pushes you can play on 2 bases with carriers, but then yeah, you're totally all in. I mean, your push that's then coming out at around the 10-minute mark should better kill your opponent or you're dead. So again, trying to deal some damage, unfortunately shading right into a group of roaches here. So losing more and more of these adepts, but yeah, the adepts don't really matter that much to her. Miyako just wants to keep her opponent busy, wants to keep her on her feet, while she herself is tacking towards the carrier attack. So a few more gateways, just in case, if she needs a few more ground units around. But yeah, most resources just rather want to be invested into building carriers and also getting a Dark Shrine because it's always good to have one. I mean, why not take a Dark Shrine if you just have the minerals and the gas for it? Dark Shrines always, and DTs always pay off. I mean, you can just use them for some harassment, you can use them to turn the tide of a battle, as we saw. So yeah, at some point in time, a Protoss should always take a Dark Shrine, because you can almost always make value out of it. Especially if you just have a lot of pylons around all over the map, and then just warp in everywhere. A DT here, a DT there, just running into an undefended mineral line. Even if there's a Spore Crawler, I mean, DTs do damage even if they are revealed. So, yeah, Dark Shrine, always a good option there. Getting also Blink, which is actually quite interesting. I'd rather have her go into air upgrades, or maybe she doesn't even want to. Well, she does want to go into carrier, definitely. She's built the... Okay, now trying to deal more damage. Maybe this is even a game-ending engagement here already. Miezekotze does not have that much against the Void Rays up in the sky, but their ground forces are just too weak. I think she rather wants to move away with her Void Rays here. Doesn't really want to keep on engaging. Miezekotze just cleared this up magnificently well. So almost everything of Miyako's army died here, even losing one Void Ray there, and at the meantime she already managed to take a 4th base. So Miezekotze, despite losing a lot of workers early on, has stabilized pretty well here, I have to say. Now the Overseer is just moving through the base. It has only seen one of the Stargates producing. I think she hasn't seen the 2nd Stargate that's just in production. Where is it? Oh, it's down here at the 3rd base. So probably not. Let's see what the Overseer saw. No, so she doesn't know about the 2nd one. Might still guess that her opponent will be going into the Sky Toss build, because it's just a very viable strategy and a very viable composition to go to. So she already invests into Aspire here. Miyako in the meantime is already making a mothership. We have already seen it morphing down here. And the DTs, like I said, always good for harassment. Again, no Overseer with the army, but quite interestingly here the units get just caught inside the group of Lings and Ravages here, and now Miezekotze knows what's up, is already sending out her units, and there is the Overseer, so she will probably be able to easily kill off that Dark Templar as well. One more Dark Templar just moving towards a potential 5th base. Yeah, we'll just see that it's not here. We'll then probably go towards a 4th base. And yeah, Miezekotze just immediately reacted, planting down spores and spines close to the bases that are a little bit further away. You don't really want to invest too many drones and money into spines if it's not necessary, but in the long run I feel it's an okay move to do. But right now I think Miezekotze still feels as if she's a little bit behind, so she doesn't really want to make any investments that might not help her later on, or maybe in an immediate fashion. So later on I think she might want to have a few more spines and spores at every base, because if you send in like 4 DTs, it doesn't really matter. They can tear down the spines pretty quickly, especially with upgrades. But yeah, for right now, Miezekotze rather wants to invest into the army she has and wants to roll over her opponent once more. Probably wants to take out a base here or there. But yeah, there's already the mothership, and we already have a few air units as well. We also have the adepts around. I don't really know if Miezekotze will be able to deal that much damage. I mean, it's still, Miyako is still lacking carriers, but the first 2 should be out in just a few seconds here, and probably right before the army hits. So, let's see what Miezekotze is going to do. If she actually pulls through with the attack, or if she just retreats as soon as she sees the carriers on the mothership. Miyako, in the meantime, investing into a lot of upgrades for the carriers. Like I said, it's quite odd that she went into Blink at some point in time. Don't really know why she got Blink. And not went into the army upgrades right away if she wanted to transition into carriers anyways. So, let's see. I mean, the longer Miezekotze waits, the more problematic it becomes. She now has a lot of banelings here, so she should at least be able to tear down one base if she just sacrifices all of her banelings into it. Of course, it's going to be pretty costly then, and she will probably lose just big chunks of her army. Her supply will drop immediately to parts that might be problematic. Nice little Overlord drop here into the natural base, just dropping a few banelings in there. It can also be devastating. Miyako will probably not be watching as the rest of the army units move in. So here they come. We already have a lot of drones killed inside the natural base. Then we also have the main engagement inside the third base, but like I said before, most of the banelings obviously crushed into something, but not into the main nexus. Now the Ravager Biles just tried to take down the nexus as well. It would be a small victory for Miezekotze here, although probably one that's not very significant, since Miyako already has another base up and is already preparing to take another base over here. So even if Miezekotze actually managed, or had managed to take down that base, it would have probably not mattered that much. I mean, at least she did some damage with an army composition she won't be able to use that much longer. And she's now transitioning into Mutalisks and Corruptors, just trying to get a considerable air force together. But I think it will just take a little bit too long. Miyako is already on 6 carriers. She already has a lot of upgrades for these units, while Miezekotze does have none upgrades at all. Yeah, and the mothership is there as well. So now Miezekotze, of course, just sending out the ground units she knows she won't be able to use later on in the game anyways, trying to get rid of them while dealing at least some damage whatsoever, taking down a few more workers here and there. But at the same time, we also have 13 workers going down, probably somewhere over here. Yeah, we see it. Like I said, with enough DTs just getting into that base, it doesn't even matter if there are a lot of spore crawlers. So 5 more workers die over here before the Zealots finally get morphed in and can kill off the Zerglings. But yeah, like I said, that's just what Miezekotze wants right now. Just wants to get rid of all the useless ground forces and wants to make as much use of them as possible. Again, just running in, but they got spotted by the pylon. Miyako usually has a very good map awareness, but she also has a few Zealots still close to the yeah, what was the 4th base and would now no, actually is still the 4th base, because that 3rd base never got down. And I think Miezekotze actually does not even know about the base down here, does not even check for it anyways, probably just assumes that a Protoss would not take a 5th base that quickly. So yeah, we have more Zealots moving out. Those were the Zealots from the 4th base, just moving towards the right-hand side. We'll probably try to take out more base over here. In the meantime, we have the DTs over in the main base and inside the natural base. And like I said, at some point in time, it is a wise idea to just get out a spore and 2 spines at every base. So it seems as if Miyako once more will make good use of her DTs, and that are going to help her to win the game eventually, maybe. I mean, Miezekotze had been pretty behind very early on in that game. Throughout the harassment, still managed to make a good macro game out of it, despite having been harassed so early on and so strongly. But yeah, then unfortunately she just blindly built an army composition that didn't really help her against the army composition that Miyako was building, and is now even just barely losing the 4th base over here. So now she only has a 3rd base mining. I mean, it doesn't really matter that much, because she only has 32 drones anyways to the 55 of Miyako. With Miyako on 5 bases, can probably just easily take out another one. And Miyako just again and again and again, while waiting for more Stargates and more carriers to finish, just keeps her opponent busy, sending DTs across the map from every angle, trying to hit her opponent wherever she can. Miezekotze just trying to return the favor by sending in small forces of Lings and Banelings towards the bases, but unfortunately Miyako's harassment just a lot more successful than that of her opponents. 7 more kills, 10 more kills, probe kills for Miezekotze here, but yeah, Miyako will just return the favor again, just now kill the infestation pit before a hive can even be built. So again, a big technical blowback here for Miezekotze, especially since we already said that Vipers might actually be the only thing that could help Miezekotze to turn the tide of the battle against the fleet of 10! of 10! 10! Oh my, did I say 10 carriers already? I mean, this is just ridiculous. So no Vipers for like the next 3 minutes. And no way that Miezekotze will actually win this engagement. No friggin' way. I mean, the Mothership Core is not even here, but there's cannons around. The Mothership Core is even protecting all of these units from being seen. The Corruptors take out the Mothership Core at least and will now return, but a lot of these Interceptors and the Voiderays will even take them out before they can comfortably retreat. The Ravagers are pretty useless in a fight anyways. Miezekotze supply drops below 100. GG well played! And Miyako advances to the finals, winning her semi-final 3-1.